right, I am going to be making a video about, it's for a mask. It is a mask that is made from a single rectangle piece of fabric. It's the easiest, and while it may seem complicated, I ask that you follow along very closely. I will try to repeat myself. I'm going to be doing two at the same time, so that as you see it with one, you can then see it again with the other one. There will be a difference. I will be making this one into a pocketed one. In other words, it will have an opening so that you can put a filter, an additional filter in. Then this one I will be making it closed, so it is just a simple mask with no pocket. So tools that you will need for this specific, in addition to other tools like your seam ripper or your hand press or needles, you're going to be needing some other tools. You're going to need pinking shears if you don't have a serger. You will need a serger. You will need a regular sewing machine. You will need a pen. This is a fabric pen, but you don't need a fabric pen. You can use a ballpoint. The pen marks will be on the inside part and you will not be able to see them. You're also going to want a small ruler. For this project, we're going to be adding twist ties. This is the plastic twist ties. This does not have any paper on it, so this can be washed multiple times without fear that it'll poke you or come out. And so you are going to be using these twist ties. I purchased the Vigoro twist ties. These are found in the gardening section of probably Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's. We found it in Home Depot. This is 8-inch ones. I cut them in half so that I could have 4-inch ones. You also want to make sure that you do have your clips, whatever your preference is of clips or needles, depending on what you like to put on your fabric so that it stays. So first step is cutting your fabric. You're going to want to cut your fabric 10 inches wide by 14 inches tall. 10 inches wide by 14 inches tall. If it is, if it has a design on it and it's directional, meaning that it all goes in one direction, you want to make sure that it is lengthwise with your pattern. If you have a design that's not really directional, like this, then it doesn't matter which way you cut it. Woven doesn't have a grain line per se, so you would use your design as your grain line. As I explained, you're going to want to have pinking shears or a serger. If you have a serger, you want to finish your short ends. That means your 10-inch wide ends, their top and your bottom, with the serger. If you don't have a serger, you are going to want to finish your fabric, your 10-inch side, with pinking shears, as you see here. What that does is that it prevents it from fraying. If you look here closely, you can see that as I pull on it, you can see that the threads come out. That's called fray. Ideally, you should be using cotton woven. This is the recommended by the CDC fabrics, and so I recommend finishing the edge. This edge doesn't have to be finished. It will just be the top and the bottom, the 10-inch sides, because those are the sides that will be exposed to the outside. This will be the pocket side, so you will have to be sticking things in and out, the filters in and out of the pocket through the here. And when you wash, if you don't use the pinking shears or serge it, it will fray, and eventually it'll just be a mess. So you want to make sure you do have that. After that, you're going to take the short sides and put them together. So in other words, you're going to have it folded to 7 inches roughly. So you're going to fold it in half lengthwise. So your treated sides are going to be lined up together. And you want to go ahead and put clips or pins on that side. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be doing it twice so that you guys can follow along. Now what we are going to do is, with this one, we're going to not be making a pocket. So we're going to sew a 1/2 inch in from the edge all the way across. Don't forget to backstitch. And there you have it, sewn about a 1/2 inch in. For this one, you're going to want to take your ruler and you're going to want to mark it 2.5 inches in from each side, on the sides that are on your 7-inch side. So you're going to go 1, 2.5 inches, and then you're going to measure 2.5 inches from this side as well. And that is basically so that you can stop there, skip, and then go to the end of it. This is going to be your pocket. You'll see why we did it that way. Again, don't forget to backstitch. You want to backstitch at the opening so that as you open it to put the filter in, it doesn't come undone. Now you're going to pull it through, or you can cut it. I usually just pull it through. And then again, you're going to backstitch. And backstitch at the end. You're going to need to cut that thread. If you did it like me where you just skip forward, then you're going to want to cut that line. All right, so you have those two sides done. They are sewn at a 1/2 inch from the edge. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pin and mark the middle or the center of the bottom of the fold. You see how this side is folded and this side is that we just sewn together. We're going to mark the center. In other words, mark the fold with a needle. Okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your what you've just sewn, and you're going to line up the center of the side that you just sewed to the needle. And it's going to look like this. Our next step is going to actually be ironing it open. And so I'm going to do this one as well, and then I'm going to be taking it to the iron to open it, to iron it open. You want to try and match those centers up really well, but if you just can't seem to get it right because your fabric for some reason is just a little bit askew, it's not a big deal. This seam is actually going to go towards the inside, so nobody will be able to see it but you. All right, so I am going to go iron this, and I will be right back. I'm going to show you the pocket. This one is the one with the pocket, and as you can see, you can stick your hand through it. This one does not have a pocket, and it is attached all the way across. All right, so the next step is going to be marking it at 1 3/4 inches from each end on each corner. So you're going to want to do it on this side and on this side, on both sides of each corner. So 1 3/4 inch from each side. And while you don't have to have it exact, you do want it as accurate as possible, because this part of it, if you change it too much, it will make the pattern a little harder. But it does not have to be perfect. Just keep in mind, this is about functionality more than aesthetics. So now you're going to just connect those two corners, those two dots on each corner. One down, one more to go. Remember, it is 1 1/3 inches from the corner. 3/4, sorry. 1 3/4 inches from each corner. Now that I've thoroughly confused you. 1 3/4 inches from each corner on both sides. And now you're going to connect them. Oops, I forgot this side. Okay. So now that you have them both marked, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sew along that line all the way around. Make sure you backstitch. If you don't, it will be really hard, because we're going to be putting a little bit of stress on these, especially on these corners. These corners along the fold won't be so bad, but these corners will. So make sure you backstitch. It's a good habit to have. I like to get my whole, one whole one done. Oops. Before moving on. It's just more efficient that way, and so it ends up kind of looking like a wonton. So now that you've done all of them, you can cut them open. Okie dokie. So now that you've cut them open, we're going to cut off the excess corners. I cut it about 1/4 of an inch from the line that you sewed. I'm going to cut the second one. Okay, so now this is what you have. You have something that looks like this. On one side it has nothing, on the other side it has the seam down the middle. I will either have one with a pocket in the middle or one without. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn them. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn them. And this is where you put stress there, so if you didn't backstitch, it'll start opening. And you want to kind of use your fingers to push out the corners. And then once you do, you kind of have the exact same thing, but inside out. So here you go. I'm going to take these and press them. You're going to want to iron them, and then I'll be right back. So up until now, I think it's been pretty easy to do these. This was the more challenging part of it, only because you do have to watch where you're, or how close to the edge you are. We're going to be top stitching all the way around. You do not have to close this edge at all. What I usually do is I top stitch all the way around on one side, and I end here. So start here and end over here. But we are going to be putting in the twisty ties. So you want to make sure you've got it on the front, because if it's a directional, on the back it's going to be upside down. So you're going to just use your fingers to place it, kind of get it in the center between the two corners up here on the front. Okay. When you have a pocket, it's easier because you can just stick it up the middle part, up the pocket, and then get it in that way. Okay. So now that you have that in, that means that you want to use 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. That'll kind of lock that twisty tie up at the very end, at the very top. Don't forget to backstitch. Don't forget to backstitch. And there you have it, all completely top stitched around. The edges won't matter, so it doesn't matter that one was top stitched on a frayed edge and the other one wasn't at all. You'll see why in a little bit. I'm going to do the second one. If you get to corner, it is okay to hand crank to turn. A lot of times I do it. Don't forget to backstitch. And here you have it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these pieces and we're going to fold them towards the center, lengthwise or along the long edge, right where the the curve is, like this. Corner, right where the corner is. It will overlap. We'll go ahead and do the other one. Corner to corner. Out of habit, I always do the top one, but it doesn't matter. So now you have both of those. Now is going to be the tricky part. You're going to take this edge here, and you're going to fold it up so that it is straight up and down. So it's going to be kind of a little bit wonky, but you'll see how it fits. You're going to want to do all 4 corners that way. That is what's going to create this pocket where your mouth and your nose will go. Actually, it'll go like this. So you want to make sure that there is a straight line and that they're even. The top line and the bottom line are even. I'm going to go ahead and fold up the other one. And there you have them. Straight line there, straight line there, and here is your mouthpiece. Okay? Now the next part is a little bit trickier. You're going to take this end and you're going to fold it in once and then again. it should look like that. Again, you're going to fold it in once and then a second time. And these that were holding those two parts, you can take it off and hold the casing. This is the casing that where you're going to put the elastic. I'm going to go ahead and fold the other one. Here we go again. You're going to fold once and twice. And fold it in. And there you go. This is what it should look like at the moment. Now we're going to sew along the edge. You want about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Remember to backstitch. And there you have your mask almost ready. There you have your mask ready for the elastic. Don't forget to backstitch. Voila, you have two face masks. You have one with a pocket inside that you can put the filter in, and one that does not have two pockets, but it is a 2-layer. Okay, now for the last part of it. For this next part, you're going to want a bodkin or a safety pin will work. You're going to want to cut 2 12-inch pieces per mask. And you're going to want to insert them. going to do the other one. Because there is essentially 4 layers in there, you may come across, like I just did, where you can't go all the way through. Just turn it around or pick a different layer to go through. Here's another one where I can't get through. We'll turn it around and go the other direction. Here you have it. You've got those. Now this becomes a very adjustable strap. These are basically just a knot. And then you just run the knot into the casing so that it doesn't affect you. If you find you need it tighter, then it's really easy to just pull that knot out and make an additional knot in. I make all of mine standard 12 inches long, and I tie it within an inch of the end of the elastic, so that hopefully there is enough room for everybody. I recommend that you wash these once a day if you have not gotten them soaked. But I alternatively recommend that you do read the CDC instructions on how to use these to get their maximum coverage from anything that's out there. I do realize that these are not N95, but during these times when the future is uncertain, we want to make sure that we can protect ourselves as much as possible. I recommend that if it gets soiled in any way, that if you see anything on it, you wash it in hot water, use detergent, make sure that you dry it. Every single item here should withstand high temperatures, including the elastic and the twisty tie. Here is the final product. I have created a group on Facebook called Face Masks by Melissa Goodwin. You're welcome to join, and if you have any questions on how to make them, on how to fold it, anything like that, you're more than welcome to ask it there. Currently it is just me it's a place for me to keep organized the orders that I get for face masks, but the more of us that there is out there making them and using them, I think the better. And so I encourage you to join the group if you have questions, if you want to give it a try, and feel free to ask away.